What's the most embarrassing thing you're willing to admit about yourself? I had the genius idea of running to the school bathroom while trying to keep my butt from exploding. I almost made it. So close. Shat myself in front of the freaking toilet. Worst thing is that this is just the beginning. My clothes were full of crap. It was only recess. Guess what my stupid 10 years old self decided to do? Run completely naked and full of crap through 3 freaking floors like a ninja, because there was some showers in the bathroom next to the football field. Got there, but, like, 5 minutes later someone knocked on the door. Is someone in there? Me. Perhaps. Him. Me. Him. Hum. Do you need help? Me. How did you? Him. Hum. I found some clothes in a bathroom. I figured the person would want to come here. Me. Him. Me. Him. Do you want me to call your parents? Me. Please. I stayed locked in there until my mom arrived with clean clothes. She laughed so hard. To this day I'm unaware if someone ever saw me running butt naked through the school. That was a very kind person. Upvote. If I have nothing to do, I don't shower, don't eat well, and turn into an absolute slob. I have sort of a reputation as being a really clean and orderly roommate, so I feel bad when people see my shrieked room. When I'm in that state, I just pretend I'm not home if someone stops by, which hasn't happened in literally years, someone stopping by randomly, but it couldn't best to protect yourself. I used to pretend that I had a huge stomach and try to convince my friends to bet against me in eating, just so they would give me their leftover food that they didn't finish. I did this a lot whenever I knew I wouldn't have anything else to eat when I got home in high school and college. It was embarrassing because I accepted that I would rather overeat for someone else's paid meal than starve at home due to lack of money, lol. But now things are different. I'm sorry you went through this. I was on a camping trip in the woods while I was a Boy Scout, about 11 or 12. I didn't realize I was expected to crap in hole and wipe with leaves. My tender little child self could hardly comprehend. I fought the urge to poo for hours and hours. Finally, sitting around the campfire telling funny stories, I laughed hard and it all came out. I didn't know what to do. I feigned sickness to get home. Our scout leader drove me several hours home in the middle of the night, and it didn't take long for the cab of his truck to reek of crap. I pretended I was asleep the whole way. Why did I just share this story? Pretended I was asleep the whole way. You did the right thing. I have no idea how you kept in the laughter though. If I were you, that would have been hilarious. Every once in a while, there will be a time that if I get an erection, I will almost immediately get tears streaming down my face like I'm crying. Don't know how it happens, or why, or what drives it, but it has ruined the mood more than once. I get afraid of going to take a shower sometimes, for some unknown reasons. So, sometimes I don't take a shower, or I play music or YouTube loud enough that I can hear it in the shower to keep me calm. I talk to our cat when no one's around. When he looks intently at me with his deep green eyes, I actually believe he understands the gist of what I'm saying. In Little League Baseball, I was a pitcher because my dad was a coach, not because I had any talent. I once pitched a no-hitter, in which we won 7-6. This means I walked in 6 runs over the course of the game. The bases were full in the final inning when I somehow got the final out on a strikeout. For decades, I had a baseball in my box of memorabilia that was signed by my teammates after pitching that no-hitter. One day, I pulled it out only to discover that it was only signed by me. Then I remembered. My teammates thought I sucked. That's just kinda sad. If it makes you feel better, I also sucked at baseball, but I struck out a really annoying kid once and he denies it happened to this day. Considered making a throwaway account for this, but TBH, what do I have to lose? I have such a great, obsessive fear of wasting things. That is, food, water, etc. In this case, water, that I near exclusively only pee in the shower so that I don't have to flush the toilet and waste water, or use toilet paper and waste it. I also went through a phase in my life where I peed near exclusively in the sink for the same reason. I always thoroughly clean everything afterwards. Get rid of the urine, not my shame. About 15 years ago I was working part-time in a bar and an acquaintance at the time asked if I'd like to assist him in building work. Seeing the opportunity to make a few extra pounds for beer tokens and poker money, I agreed. Despite having zero manual labor experience and being extremely inattentive and clumsy in general, I was later diagnosed with ADHD about 4 years ago. Full stop. Anyway, we are working on a loft conversion, and I have been warned to watch my footing in certain areas, as it is merely plywood and insulation material and therefore incapable of supporting the weight of a grown man. So, I'm carrying pieces of wood, tools etc up and down ladders, generally just trying to contribute without getting in the way. I get to about 3 PM incident free, when my colleague requests a hammer or something similar, and take it out of the toolbox, and begin moving towards him, only to obliviously walk off of the temporary wooden path and onto the unsupported area. I go crashing through the floor, frantically attempting to grab onto the supporting beams on the way down, crotching myself on electrical wire during free fall. This alone should be the height of cringe-worthy in itself, but that's when I caught the sound of a startled female whimpering. I look down through the hole to catch sight of a bathroom floor and various tiles, a sink etc, when my eyes dart and fix on the shaking figure in the corner of the room. I had fallen through the bathroom ceiling, right when the lady of the house was sitting on the john. I politely apologized, averted my eyes, left the scene of the crime and never attempted any form of manual labor from that day forward. Should have landed and let out a mighty hello there before leaving. Okay, I've only told this story to friends and family, but here we go. So when I was 10 I was making shish kebabs with my mom. Well, I didn't know that I couldn't eat the shrimp cocktails with raw chicken hands. Anywho, fast forward 12 hours later, I got salmonella. Instead of vomiting, I got major diarrhea. I was basically living next to the toilet for a couple days. Well, I was feeling better a couple days after, so my mom decided to have some friends over since I'd been cooped up in my house. I decided to wear my cute pink skirt that day, important information for what is to come. So me and my friends are all having a tickle fight, and my friend Madison was under me laying on the ground. She's tickling me and I'm tickling her. Well, my butt was over her face, and I was laughing so dang hard that I farted. Well, after I farted everyone stopped laughing. When I looked down I had a tiny amount of poop on Madison's cheek. So we haven't talked since. I'm sorry Madison if you're on Reddit. It was all shoots and giggles till I giggled and shat. I was a huge weeb from 11-17. Made fake cat ears out of clay and a headband. Sharpened my nails into claws. Did the whole anime voice. I'm a 22-year-old man who gets mistaken for a woman almost daily even though I wear full 3-piece suits every day. AWW Stephanie. I like to scratch my balls with a specific blue hairbrush. No other brush will do. I've had it for over 20 years, and my ballsack is in great shape, so I made the right choice. I once got so nervous in front of a cute guy at work that I forgot how to speak English. I attempted to ask him if he had a good weekend and what came out of my mouth was gobbledygook. When we both realized, he looked puzzled, so I attempted to correct myself by apologizing and repeating the question. This time what came of my mouth was gibberish that was much higher pitched and at lightning speed. I slowly backed away and went back behind the checkout. He said bye with the biggest smile on his face and went back to stacking shelves. This happened half a lifetime ago and I still physically cringe when I remember it. I do not miss being a teenager. I've been waiting for my best friend to come along all my life. I realized not long ago that people my age aren't looking for a best friend anymore. It's very sobering. I didn't meet my best friend until I was 40. It took forever for her to show up in my life, but our friendship is so strong that it makes up for the long wait. Don't give up. I am sometimes a bit willing to say sorry. I know this because I bumped into a chair and said sorry. I said sorry to an empty chair. I used to have a massive problem with apologizing for everything and sort of bowing when I freaking did it. I would put my hands together and do a half bow half curtsy or some crap while mumbling my apologies. I spend my life trying to hide what a mess I am from everyone, and I think no one really is as fooled by it as I like to believe they are. But fortunately, I often don't let myself be aware of that last part. This is me, to a T. My ringtone is Bonnie Tyler's I Need a Hero. I triple check to make sure my phone is on silent because God forbid I forget one day and it goes off during a meeting. It would completely destroy me. I used to only use public bathrooms mirrors when I was alone because I was afraid someone would say, "Why are you looking in the mirror? You're too ugly to check yourself out." That's so sad. I hope you feel better about yourself now. I have very long hair. When I shower, I take the hair that gets caught in my fingers and put it on the wet wall to avoid it clogging the drain. Sometimes those shower wall hair clumps don't get thrown away for a week. When I was 12 I figured out how to masturbate with the bathtub tap flow. I became absolutely convinced I could be impregnated that way. I'm a furry. I know of the stigma that comes with it. I live a very normal life. I wake up, go to work, come home, shower, eat dinner, rinse and repeat. However, I do take days off to go to a comic book convention or a gaming convention every few times throughout the year. I don't tell my co-workers, boss, not even family, especially not any of my normie friends. I have two sets of friends. One set are those I've made outside the furry fandom. The other are those I've met inside the furry fandom. I never let the two meet, ever. My normal friends are too innocent and curious and would find out so much. My furry friends are too obnoxious and loud. They would spill the tea. All of it. I have a fursuit. I don't wear it in public unless I'm at a gaming comic book convention. If I do get spotted by a normie in it, I act completely different as to what I normally would outside the suit. Sorta like a way to distract and throw them off of figuring out who's actually under the mask. I even go as far as keeping my mouth shut and not to say a word the whole time I'm in it. My voice is fairly recognizable. I'm an artist. I draw both normal and furry related art. Like my two sets of friends, I keep those separated. I never show my furry art to anyone unless I'm at a convention or with furry friends. Meanwhile, I've had normal art displayed at various art museums around the nation. You could say I'm one of those self-hating furries. I get kinda irritated by the way some other furries act. I suppose I'm way more conservative with the whole don't ask, don't tell thing. Other furries would call me a closeted furry. Gonna upvote because I wanna see dudes get mad about furries. When I was in kindergarten or so I'd bring extra pair of clothes to school to purposely pee myself and go change into something a little more scandalous for a 5-year-old. My parents were told that I was learning disabled growing up, and despite my exceptional vocabulary, sense of humor and being drawn to everything academic, they bought into it. This was the 60s and 70s, so I was thrown into special ed classes. I did nothing through school, and once it became mathematically impossible for me to graduate, I dropped out. Schools back then didn't allow you to stay past your graduating year. I got my get and pumped gas and washed cars for a living. I eventually worked my way up into management positions in both automotive and then insurance. I have a tested IQ of 130 and I am extremely embarrassed by my past. I still have no college. I was at Zello's with my mom back in the day. Cough obviously. Must have been around 8th grade. While trying on some clothes I felt the urge to rub one out, right in the change room. I was young enough to have just entered the masturbation age, so I finished quickly. However, I was not quite young enough to finish mess free. Left a fun-sized puddle right on the bench. I still feel bad for the janitor that was working that day. One time I was so drunk that I went to pee in a bush and ended up pooping in a bush and grabbed a few leaves to wipe. I was mortified cause we were going into the club. Then inside the club I felt dingleberries, so I had to run to the restroom and threw my undies away. In a mini skirt without undies on is hard to dance in. Ended up taking a few more shots after that. I'm an unassuming 4 feet 11 inch girl, and I poop anywhere from 3-7 times a day, and I'm not talking lil things either. Back when I was younger I would take my shoes off so no one could tell it was me. I'm female, and enjoy hiking and backpacking and crap. Didn't learn till college that I didn't have to take my pants completely off to pee crap in the woods. And looking back on it now, I was a complete buffoon for not figuring it out sooner. When my depression and anxiety were at their peak, I didn't wash my hair for a month. It was winter, so every time I went out I would just wear my beanie and hope it didn't smell too much like greasy hair on the inside. I finally got tired of having such filthy hair and washed it. Sadly, I kinda messed up my scalp and it has been really dry ever since, and it has been almost 2 years. No one wants to frick me and no one ever will, and it makes me so sad that I think about killing myself. When I say frick, I really mean date. Seems like no one wants little old me and IDK what to do anymore. This sounds like a stupid joke, but there is much more to live than dating, and shortly after you learn to enjoy those other things and embrace your non-romantic relationship, the dates will come on their own. It's hard to get out of it, but it is possible. Good luck to you. I have elaborate conversations and arguments with myself, like hardcore debates, roasts and commentaries. Nobody knew about this because I do it late at night. That is until I moved in with my roommates. I have a horrible dependency for people due to my mother being incredibly emotionally distant with me, all the way to the point that half the time I was cooking for myself by the age of 8 and fully by 14. I still have troubles just being alone because it reminds me of the past, being scared and alone in my house for hours. I'm pretty sure I have undiagnosed autism. I was diagnosed with ADHD as a kid and medicated for it, and I only found out recently that ASD is often mistaken for ADHD in young children, but my symptoms seem to align more with ASD than ADHD these days. It would better explain my weird, self-imposed social isolation and literally painful attempts to make friends and date. To clarify, I don't think that having autism is inherently embarrassing, but to potentially learn about it at 25 kind of is. I love sniffing my cats, their forehead, tummy, body, neck. Take a whiff of their teethies too. Smells good bruh. I sniff until I clog my lungs. I avoid the private zoo. I'm not that crazy. I call this huffing the fluff. I've told of this on Reddit because I can hear anonymously, but I suffer from depression really bad, yet I do not want to say anything to anyone about it. It's embarrassing, so I have to play the cover up and pretend I'm happy game. TBH, it's extremely exhausting. It's not at all embarrassing to talk about such things. It's extremely important. If you feel too embarrassed to tell people close to you, there are trained professionals to help you. I live 10 minutes from work, so I'll wake up 15 minutes before I'm supposed to be in. That's how sleep deprived I am. I savor every minute of sleep I can get. I'm a high school teacher that's super into BDSM and writing erotica. Like I have one of the most PC jobs and yet majorly into kink. Sometimes I get so frisky I masturbate in the disabled bathroom at work. I also watch a lot of P when my husband's not home. I think I may have a problem. I got a 0 on a regional language test. I don't know how to write or read that language to this day, but I can converse to a certain extent. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.